I am Matt Skraby. Thank you for joining me tonight. We have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, mostly baseball. We will possibly get into some of the other sports out there, but tonight it's mostly baseball. We had the Cy Young Awards given out, which National League went to Paul Skeens, American League went to Tarek Skubal. So Skubal, back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. He was incredible this year. So was Garrett Crochet. I got to say, Garrett Crochet didn't even show up to the award ceremony. I'm not sure what happened there. But Garrett Crochet was pretty good. So I could see why he was a little upset that he wasn't the winner of the award. But I'm not sure that's not why he showed up. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was the other one who didn't show up. But Paul Skeens gets his first, and Tarek Skubal gets his second. Now, Tarek Skubal is going to be a huge topic of conversation here in the next, 2 months or so, because I'm seeing a lot of rumors and reports out there that Tarek Skubal is going to be traded by the Tigers because they're going to have to pay him pretty good. I believe he's still in the arbitration years of his contract, but do I think the Padres are going to go after him? Maybe. Do I think they should go after him? Absolutely. They have to go after him. They don't have to go after him, but that would be very nice. I don't think they have the prospect capital to be a team that's going to make a difference, but Tarek Skubal is still in arbitration. He has one more season with that, and then he is a free agent. So that's why they want to trade him. That's why they want to trade him, because they're not going to be able to pay him. He's going to make a lot of money, and I don't know that the Tigers are willing to throw out as much money as Tarek Skubal is going to want. But back-to-back Cy Young Award winner, the next year you got, him for cheap. And if you could trade him and you can give that team a year of Tarek Skubal, you could get a little bit of a discount on him, or you can extend him. There's plenty of things teams can do with Tarek Skubal. I just don't think the Padres are going to be involved with any of them. Dominic says, just bracing myself to see him with the team I don't want to see him on. I am going to brace myself as well. But I honestly don't know that the Dodgers are going to get him, maybe in free agency, but I have a feeling his trade price is going to be so astronomical that some teams just don't even think it's worth it at all to bring in Tarek Skubal with his last year of arbitration, because that does count for something. It does mean you have one more year of control for his contract, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So you can get like a rental of him for the year, and if he doesn't get traded in probably in the beginning or off season, I bet you he gets traded at the trade deadline, because if the Tigers are bad, he's going to be like just a wasted player, because they're not going to be able to re-sign him. I keep saying the Tigers aren't going to be able to re-sign him, or extend him, and they definitely could, but all indications are pointing towards someone else taking on a big Tarek Skubal contract. Someone said, let's see, where did it go? Oh, maybe they'll break a new precedent, though, and straight up buy a guy from another roster like in soccer. That is kind of hilarious, actually. That is hilarious. Soccer has some interesting rules, I gotta say. Roster rules. Baseball, which we're going to talk about briefly, a roster rule that is slightly weird with baseball at the end of the show, because if a player from your team wins Rookie of the Year, then you get roster bonuses, and we'll talk about that as we go along. I also went through some of because I run the Gwen and Chris YouTube, and so my phone, I don't know if this is a bad thing or a good thing, but I get all the notifications, and every time someone comments, and I've just seen a lot of negative comments about Craig Stammen, which, again, I don't think that people have to buy into this. I don't think that, because there's a huge risk involved with bringing Craig Stammen in. But I continue to ask people who they wanted to bring in, and I get some names, and they say, well, why don't they bring in a guy like Rocco Baldelli? Well, I went through his managerial career with the Twins, and I'll tell you all about that. Why don't you bring in a guy like Bruce Bochy? I'll tell you what he's done in the last 3 years. There's some other guys out there, but what I'm really trying to get at is that there's just not good candidates right now. And you may say, what about someone like Joe Madden? Who Joe Madden was, we talked briefly about a little bit earlier. I'm going to play this right now because I think Joe Madden makes a good point. I also think he saves himself from being I also think that Joe Madden in this clip saves himself from being such a doomer. But Joe Madden was on with Murph and Marcus in the Bay Area, KNBR, the sports leader. I used to listen to that station all the time when I was going to college up there. But here is what Joe Madden said about Tony Vitello being hired as the Giants manager without any experience.
But, quite frankly, I'm using the word insulting only from the perspective that it appears as though you don't have to have any kind of experience on a professional level to do this job anymore. Because when I was coming up, you had to have all that. You had to go through the minor leagues. You had to ride your buses. I was a scout. I started in 1981. I finally got a managerial job in 2006. I mean, there was a rite of passage, a method to get to that point. So to think that somebody could just jump in there and do what you took 20 some years to be considered qualified to do, it is kind of insulting. Now, having said that, the next part is I wish him nothing but the best, because I've watched videos of the guy and I could actually understand why it's perceived that he's ready to do something like this. So I guess the overarching point is, in today's world, prerequisites to get jobs of this caliber, even jobs like a mere job of New York City now, it doesn't require the years of experience that you may have had to have gone through in the past.
I like how you snuck in a little political thing right there with the New York mayor, but I do think that Joe Madden has a point here. I do. And it does seem like now experience does not seem to matter. And I'm just not sure why. I think maybe some of these newer guys are more moldable, which I think a lot of people out there think that's what the Padres are doing with Craig Stammen. But honestly, the more I think about it, I mean, Craig Stammen is the manager of the team. It's not going to change. So I'm not going to sit here and worry about the what ifs. But if you want to be able to mold someone into the manager that you think is the best for this team, Craig Stammen is a guy that can be done with, because Craig Stammen has no experience as a manager, which obviously is a red flag. But I also think Craig Stammen is a guy who's going to work hard. Craig Stammen is a guy who understands the daily grind of baseball, and he's going to surround himself with good people that know what they're talking about, and he's going to listen to them. But when you go back to Joe Madden and you see Tony Vitello with no professional experience at all at any level, I think that is kind of insulting to some of the guys who have done it before, because he makes a point where people have to pay their dues, in my opinion. And maybe this is because how I came up in radio, because in radio 10 years ago when I started as an unpaid intern. And obviously the title says it, unpaid intern. I treated it like a job. And so I did every single job around the radio station for years and years and years, until I was able to get into a place where I was near a microphone. And then once I got near the microphone, then I had a chance. And once I got near that microphone, then more doors opened up for me. But I also was working weekends. I also was working the shifts that no one wanted to work. I used to work some of the overnights for stations here in town. So that means I would go in there at 9 p.m. and I would leave at 5 a.m. And I had other jobs too. So I understand when he's saying, like, I put in my dues. And I do think there is something to that. I do think you do maybe appreciate a position a little bit more when you spent years and years and years trying to get to that position. But Joe Madden, I don't think in this case is being a boomer, as I've seen many people calling him about this whole situation, the comments on this tweet. But why doesn't experience matter anymore? I do think playing experience, and I'm not just saying that because Craig Stammen is the manager, but I do think playing experience has a little bit more of, it pulls a little bit more weight in my mind than it does with Tony Vitello, who is the Giants manager, who doesn't have any experience at all. He didn't play at the professional level. So I'm not sure why. I think the answer really is that not clubhouses, managers and the front office, the president of baseball operations, GM, or whatever you want to call them, I think they work so closely now. And we've heard it before that the Padres are one of the few teams that allow their manager to do the lineup. And so that's why they want these guys to have no experience, so they can kind of do this together. And it's not going to be some contentious thing where you come in and you tell a guy who's been there forever that, hey, we're going to now start taking over some of the lineup duties here. And that doesn't go over well with some managers who have been in that seat for a long time. And I do think that some of the managers with experience are kind of aging themselves out. Some of these guys are getting up there, and I don't know that they want to do it every day. Things change, and I think people or jobs change as well, is what I'm trying to say. Things change, jobs change. Either you stay with the past or you get with the future, and some teams are getting with the future. Let's see. I saw a comment from KG. The thing is, Skraby, is what you are describing is more of a reflection on the problems of your industry. Like, yeah, it's amazing you worked that hard, but outwardly those requirements are insane. I understand what you're saying. I do. I also think that because I worked under all the different positions, like I remember early on in my radio career, someone said, hey, you want to be on the mic, you want to be a host one day, you need to run the board, you need to learn everything about the board, then you need to learn everything about topic selection, topic building, you need to learn everything about being a producer, you need to learn about booking guests. And so all of these things I learned as I went on in my radio career. I'm not disagreeing with you, KG, at all. I just don't honestly know. This is going to make me sound conceited, but I don't know that someone could just come in here and sit down and do a show. I think maybe the first segment they could, but you go 4 hours, that's a little bit different. And so that's why I'm comparing it to the baseball. Because, yeah, sure, one game you manage, you have to manage 162 of those. And it doesn't change. The grind continues to go. Clay says, do you believe that we should get beyond the naysayers with regard to Stammen? Give the man a chance to prove or disprove. Older managers are not as relatable. New generation of managers. Clay, I think you're right. I think that it's time for us to either move forward and say, hey, I think he's going to do well, or I don't think he's going to do well, but I'm going to let him prove it to us. I'm going to let him, we're going to see what happens before we make assumptions. And McKee, experience doesn't always equate to success. Time will tell if this new strategy works. Gonzo says, need an intern? Of course I need an intern. Katrina says, wasn't one of the reasons Schilt left was he didn't want to manage in the social media age? It was. It was one of those things. It was. And so that's why Katrina is agreeing that it's time sometimes to get new guys in there that understand people on social media are just going to talk. and you just have to not listen sometimes. Dominic says experience playing and experience managing are different. Like someone who's worked in a restaurant for years doesn't mean they'll be good at managing the restaurant. Some might, but a lot won't. That's a good example. I didn't even think about it like that. Didn't even think about it at all. Juan says Stammen doesn't float anyone's boat. I get it. I said it. It's risky. Let's see. KG wants to go back to the job thing, which is fine. Yeah, someone off the street couldn't do it, but could someone who doesn't produce but host eventually become a producer? That's a great question. I never really thought about it. Yeah, definitely can. It's not, yeah, there's no barrier to entry there. But I can tell you that when you don't come into a radio show, at least in my opinion, in my situation, when you don't come into a radio show knowing how everything works, it makes it a little bit harder. So I understand where you're coming from, KG, for sure. Skraby, what point do you become a streamer that is on the radio versus a radio host that also has a stream? Oh man, that question kind of blows my mind a little bit. I think I would always say I'm a radio host that also has a stream because my main job is to be broadcasting on the radio, but I do love the chat because it helps a lot with everything and it gives me different angles and things like that. Anyway, those were kind of my thoughts. You know, I was going to play Ken Rosenthal talking about it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. He says experience in this position still matters. It does. It does. Ken Rosenthal seems like he would get angry about something like this. All right. When we get back, we're going to go through some of those managers that have experience and what they've done recently. And then at the end of the show, we're going to find out why baseball roster stuff can get weird. So stick with me. This is the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. Oh, I just turned on the music on accident. Didn't mean to click that button, but here we are, Matt Skraby, Skraby Show 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for being here with me on Wednesday. This is actually my only Skraby Show officially of the week because tomorrow we have Thursday Night Football, and then on Friday, Tony and Chris are out, so I will be doing the 4-hour show by myself. Well, not by myself, but Adam's going to be there. I'm going to get some guests and things like that, but Friday, no Skraby Show because I'll be doing the 4 hours. And the other announcement I wanted to make tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., I will be doing Skraby versus a Rubik's Cube. I'm going to give myself 45 minutes to try to solve this Rubik's Cube. We're going to see what happens, but it's on the YouTube. And I've already scheduled the broadcast. So if you want to go and, favorite it or something to remind yourself, you could do that. Just go to YouTube, type in the Skraby Show, or you can go to youtube.com/@the Show, SKRAB as in boy, Y, and you'll be able to find the Rubik's Cube there as well. Let's see. I got a lot going on. Let me read this first. All guests on 97.3 The Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Let's go into some of these managers that have experience, and let's talk about it, because I think after this, I'm going to move on from not trying to convince people that's going to be okay, but I'm going to take my official stance of Craig Stammen is the manager. There's nothing that I'm going to change, so I'm going to accept it and move on. But I don't disagree that we're all going to have to wait to find out. I've seen a lot of the comments how the Padres have been there and done that with these managers. And yeah, they've had some managers recently. I don't think they expected to be looking for a manager this offseason, but I think it's fair to have Craig Stammen and the Padres prove that he can lead this team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They made the hire with full confidence that he's going to get the job done. But as fans, I think it's okay for us to wait and see what happens before we make a decision. I'm not even going to say that Craig Stammen's the right guy for the job because I just don't really know. We don't have enough information. Do I think he has tools to be successful? Yeah, I think he does. Do I think that he's going to work hard? Yeah, I think he will. Do I think that he's going to listen to his assistants and he's going to listen to people in the know about how to make decisions and things like that? I do. So again, I don't disagree that it's a risk, but we're going to have to wait to find out. Here are some of the managers I look through with experience. Obviously, Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy is a special assistant. That's the phrase I was looking for, a position I was looking for with the San Francisco Giants. So he's off the board. Skip Schumacher is now the manager of the Texas Rangers. Over the last 3 years, with Bruce Bochy managing the Rangers, he went 249 and 237. So that's a .512 winning percentage. Of course, he did win that World Series, so that says a lot. But that was the only time they made the playoffs. And I'm fully convinced that even if you win a championship, it does not buy you any extra time in the eyes of fans. Maybe the off season, maybe the start to the season. But once that team starts losing, people get really upset. So he was only 12 games over 500. Rocco Baldelli was the Twins manager for 7 seasons. In those 7 seasons, he had one really, really great year. In 2019, the Twins won 101 games, but then they got swept in the postseason. But after that, 2020 season, he had a losing season, 2 losing seasons in a row, 87 and 75 in 23, 82 and 80 in 24. And then last year, I don't believe he coached the entire season, but his record was 70 and 92. So a total there of 527 and 505, a 511 winning percentage. He won 3 of 11 playoff games. Brandon Hyde, was with the Orioles for 7 seasons as well. His record is just not as impressive at all. His first year, he went 54 and 108. Then he only won 25 games in the COVID year. Then 52 games in 2021. 22, he won 83. And then 23 and 24, they made the playoffs. In 2023, they won 101 games. 2024, they won 91 games. But they did not win a playoff game in either of those years. And then he started this last season 15 and 28. So more losing seasons than winning seasons. Part of that is also the team, just the franchise, the organization just not being very good or in a good spot. But those don't seem like great. That doesn't seem like a great resume. If I'm looking at the resume, I'm not seeing it. David Ross, he used to manage the Cubs. David Ross is said to want to be back in the mix of manager. David Ross, over 4 seasons with the Cubs, 262 and 284. He was under 500. They made the playoffs in 2020, but they did not win a game, and they did not return to the playoffs after that. Then if you're looking at Derek Shelton, which we've already kind of done this with Derek Shelton, but Derek Shelton is now the Twins manager. He used to be at the Twins, so it makes sense, I guess, in that regard. But in the 6 years that he was the manager of the Pirates, Derek Shelton went 306 and 440, and he lost 100 games twice, and they never went to the playoffs. In fact, out of 5 teams in the National League Central, here is where he finished in each division each year. 5, 5, 4, 4, 5, 5. The reason I'm bringing this up is because no one can give me an answer about who they wanted as manager over Craig Stammen. These guys don't jump out to me at all. These guys don't scream, hey, if we bring this guy in, the team's going to turn around. That's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a bunch of 500 or just below 500 level coaches, managers. So again, I think I'm going to stop talking or stop trying, not sell it, but I'm going to stop trying to be so gung-ho about this, because now it is just time to get to spring training and see what happens. From the chat, they got to think about if Stammen can manage the supposedly tough to manage Machado. Well, they were teammates. I don't see Manny Machado being tough to manage, but I don't know everything behind closed doors. So I think in that regard, Craig Stammen is going to be really good, because it's in the name, manager. Think about your manager at work. Are they good people? People? Person people? Just going to move on from that. But are they good at handling humans? I think that is one of the most important parts of the job. Sure, knowing when to make the moves, pull pitchers, things like that, also important. But in a long season, 162 games, I think being someone who can manage people is very important. More important than experience to me, because you could have a guy with all the experience in the world come in and not be a great manager of people, and it won't work. You got to find the right guy for the clubhouse. And we'll see if Craig Stammen's the guy. We'll see if he is that guy. All right, when we get back, I want to talk slightly about the MLB in collaboration with sportsbooks trying to fix this whole pitch prop betting thing. Also, baseball's rosters are really weird. You get something great if your player on your team wins Rookie of the Year. I'll tell you about that. Also, there was an article on MLB.com about Rookie of the Year candidates for each team. Of course, I went and looked for the Padres. I will tell you about that. And then the Daily Gripe at the end of the show. One more segment to go here on the Skraby Show. Back shortly. Apparently, I was just checking my phone in the break because I had a push notification about weather, as I do. And I looked. It's apparently supposed to rain a lot here in the next couple days. I'll tell you exactly when it's supposed to rain, according to my app. And now it's making me redo terms and conditions. Very annoying. So tomorrow through Tuesday, and then Sun Wednesday, and then Thursday has rain. So every day from tomorrow, basically for one full week, has rain. Which I don't know if I actually believe it, because it doesn't seem like it comes to fruition often when they say that it's going to rain. But I do love the rain, and I want it to happen because I like different weather seasons. I like all that different stuff. And it's good that we're going to have the rain for the next week. What's not good? My dog Lucky. And he likes the mud. He likes the rain. He likes splashing in puddles. So this is his favorite time of the year. And I have basically a pile of towels next to where we come back in from the walk because he's always 100% soaked and he just loves mud. I don't know why I got a dog who loves mud as much as my Lucky guy does. Now, it doesn't make me think of him any less, but I definitely do not like it when it rains and I have to walk Lucky. So, with all the rain talk, by the way, this is a Skraby Show. Matt Skraby. Follow me on Twitter at Matt Skraby, Instagram at Matt Skraby, YouTube, youtube.com/at the Skraby Show. But since I brought up the rain, and that means a lot of people are going to be inside for a little bit, there is a new movie that just came out on Netflix that I've watched once, and I've started it again because I loved it so much. And that would be the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. So it's 2.5 hours. And don't watch trailers, because when you watch a trailer of this movie, it makes it seem way more boring than the movie actually is. Gets right to the action. Loved the whole Frankenstein thing. It's not like a scary movie or anything like that. It's more like a dark fairy tale. And I loved it. It was way better than I thought. Like way, way, way better than I thought. And so I'm trying not to give away anything, but please, people, go out there and watch Netflix and let me know. Let me know if you like it or not. KG said, so good, in all caps, which means I believe he likes it. All right. The betting thing. So Major League Baseball announced a couple days ago that they've worked closely with sportsbook partners to proactively, from their press release, quote, proactively create new safeguards to limit pitch level markets. So now you will not be able to bet on pitch level wagers above $200. So meaning, and you're not allowed to put them as a part of a parlay to kind of get around the whole money making thing. Because if you're only betting $200, you're really not going to be making a lot of money in the long term. You're just going to be making marginal gains, even if you know the result of something. So I do think this is something. I do think this is a good thing because they're trying. But I don't understand why they just don't say no pitch level wagers at all. Like the whole $200 thing kind of bothers me because you know people are going to do it. Like, I understand you want to make money, but this seems to be a much bigger problem than just putting a cap of $200 on it. Because if there's one thing that I know, people will find a way around the rules. They will skirt the rules somehow. When I was in rehab, I found out that you have you learn a lot more, or you have a lot more time to figure out ways around things. when you're in rehab or when you're, unemployed, something like that. You have a lot more time to figure out ways around. So I think this is going to help for a little bit, but someone's going to find a way to make more money off of this. It just tells me that they cannot say no to money at all. I don't think that we need pitch level wagers. We do not need to be able to bet on every single pitch and the results of that pitch. I don't think we need to bet on that. That, to me, is predatory because you're getting instant results on your bet. You think the next pitch is going to be a ball, you bet on it, boom. Oh no, I lost. It was a strike. Now I'm going to bet it's a strike. Now it was a ball. I lost again. I think this is 100% a Band-Aid fix for this whole thing. The answer to me, and a realistic answer, because they're not going to get rid of betting in sports at this point, the realistic answer is to not let anyone wager on these things. On a pitch level bet, like wager on things that happen during the game. Does Manny Machado hit a home run? Sure, whatever. That's fine. It's one bet. But being able to bet on every single pitch seems like you're taking advantage of people who don't have much control to begin with. So again, I like it. I think it's good that they're trying to do something, but really the only reason they're doing anything is because they don't want to be caught in a situation where there's a big old scandal, even bigger than Clase and Ortiz from the Guardians. That's the only reason they're putting safeguards in, is not for the betting public. It's for their own CYA. They don't want to have a scandal down the road. So they're going to make it less desirable to make those bets. But still, people are going to make those bets. They are. So, final thought, it's good that they're doing something, but I would like to see something done for the consumer rather than just a protection for the business. They've done this to themselves. They have absolutely done this to themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves. Everything is now betting in sports. But you know what I find is really, you know what I really find? I just saw something on the chat that I can't repeat. That was hilarious. I don't even know what I found. All right, let's go into why baseball roster building is slightly weird and why this means that the Padres got screwed out of something last year. Because I did not know this, but if your player, a player on your team wins Rookie of the Year, that means you get an extra first-round pick. So Drake Baldwin gets the Braves an extra first-round pick. Nick Kurtz gets the A's an extra first-round pick. Now, I went in and tried to find out why this rule was put in there. And it's to incentivize teams to promote their young players in order to prevent them from keeping them in the minor leagues for 6 weeks to extend service time. So it's called the Prospect Promotion Incentive. It's given out to players who are top 100 prospects that make the opening day roster. So this incentive previously was awarded to the Mariners for Julio Rodriguez winning AL Rookie of the Year, as well as Royals Bobby Witt Jr. being an AL MVP finalist, and also this year given to the Astros for Hunter Brown being a top 3 finalist for the AL Cy Young Award. So I forgot to mention that part. It goes to more things than just the Rookie of the Year. But one player is only gets one pick for the team. So I think this is, it's another one of those baseball roster things where it's good because they're not trying to manipulate service time anymore. But it's also like, man, the rich get richer. So this is why I think it's a little weird for baseball to do this. Like, you were so good and you didn't manipulate service time. We're going to give you an extra first round pick to get even better. But you still have to draft the right guy. I do think it's weird, though, that they like in the draft. Here's from the article itself. This pick itself comes after the first round of the draft, and while the draft order is not set in stone just yet, we can estimate that it'll be somewhere around pick 26 to 30, as the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, and Blue Jays are all set to see their first round picks drop by 10 slots due to exceeding the second CBA threshold, though the Mets do have a minimal chance of hitting the draft lottery. And keeping that pick, as this rule doesn't affect top 6 selections. I don't know why rosters are so complicated in baseball. Just incredibly complicated. But hey, if the Padres end up having a rookie of the year at any point, they're going to get a first round draft pick. And with that said, MLB.com put out each team they put out a player who was the rookie of the year candidate for each team. And I was searching my brain for a candidate on the Padres side. I was like, man, who's young enough that's going to make a big enough impact at the big league level to win rookie of the year? And I thought, Ethan Salas? No. He's been injured. He's not ready. And then I thought, Leo Dallas DeVries. Oh, wait, he's not here, so he can't be it. I'm going to see if the chat, anybody has any suggestions? No suggestions. Bradley Rodriguez is the guy that they picked to be a rookie of the year, candidate for the Padres. And I don't hate this at all. I loved what I saw from him in the playoffs. He's 21 years old. Obviously, they put him in there during the playoffs. Did a pretty good job. He has only given up 1 run and struck out 9 across 7 2/3 innings. So Bradley Rodriguez is the guy who's supposed to get rookie of the year for the Padres. Or could win rookie of the year. He doesn't qualify anymore, I thought. I don't... No, I mean, this article came out this morning, so I trust the guys at MLB.com. Maybe they're wrong, but they seem to know what they're talking about from time to time. I think maybe because he didn't play enough, he could be a rookie of the year, or potentially be up for rookie of the year because he doesn't have enough service time. I'm going to have to look into this a little bit, see what I can find.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Dominic also has a great point. Has the rookie of the year ever been given to a relief pitcher? The only pitcher I can remember off the top of my head was Luis Heel from last year or 2 years ago. But he wasn't a relief pitcher. He was a starting pitcher. So I'm not real sure. Got a little bit of research to do. All right, my daily gripe for today is something that happens from time to time, and it drives me nuts. And it's when I leave my house and I don't put my computer to sleep, because I usually just leave all the browsers open and the tabs open. And so I got the documents and things that I'm working on at work already open at home. So when I'm not able to, or when I forget to put the computer to sleep, sometimes I need things to load into like Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that. So I have to leave it on. But here's what bothers me is that when I leave it on, I have a stupid cursor that stays there in the page the entire day in the Google Doc. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I have this one part highlighted in the document, and I cannot get that thing to go away because it's thinking there's another user somewhere editing the document. That's my daily gripe. Clinton says Devin Williams 2020 for Rookie of the Year. Pitcher, relief pitcher. That would be a good call. That would be a pretty good call. All right. That's it for the Skraby Show for today. Remember, tomorrow I'm doing the Rubik's Cube Challenge. Skraby versus a Rubik's Cube, 5:30 or 5:15. Just be there at like 5:15. And it'll be on my YouTube, the Skraby Show YouTube. 45 minutes to try to see if I can solve a Rubik's Cube. That's my second Skraby Show offering for you all this week because, again, Friday, I am not going to be doing a Skraby Show because I will be doing the 4-hour show with Tony and Chris out. But tomorrow we will talk to you at 2 p.m. We have Thursday Night Football and then that Rubik's Cube Challenge. So stay with us. Appreciate all of you. Have a great night. Stay safe in the rain because that's what Lucky would do.